The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast.
The 44 gets loose off of corner number 4. It's going to be a photo finish to the line in the grass, but the 44 will hang on for the win. Here he comes with the crossover. Fellison to the inside. Is it going to be a Las Vegas photo finish? They touch. They wreck. Who's going to get it? Upside down. Who's going to get it? Fellison. Ooh, by himself. Now he has a 72 of O'Connor. It's going to be a 2v2 race to the checkers. 2 up top, 2 to the bottom. It's going to be Ingram. It's going to be Rainville. Who's going to get it at the stripe? Photo finish. It's going to be Rainville. Is there enough? This is going to be a close finish. What is going to happen? Is there enough fuel to get him around 2 more corners? He didn't have enough. The final corner. There goes Zach Nichols. Sarah ran out with 3 corners to go, and Zach Nichols will win here at Mostport. And is he going to go for the last-ditch effort? Is he going to use the back bumper? What will Devin Sarah do? We head into corner number 3. He's going to sail it on in there. Does he get to the bumper? He turns him. He turns it for the win. He wrecks him. We saw how Ruddy, is that a word? Ruddy?
I don't know. Just go with it.
All right, we'll go with it. We've seen how Ruddy turn 3 is getting. And
so these guys, once again, doubled up, stacked up, and ready to go back green flag racing here behind the iRacing.com Facebook pace car.
Don't know where that came from, but we'll let it slide.
What was I thinking?
The banking is the steepest, the speeds are the highest, and the intensity is off the charts. What other track could we be referring to but none other than Talladega Superspeedway? Drafting 2-3 wide racing and avoiding the big one. That's the name of the game, from the green flag until the checkers. And tonight we have exactly that for you on PTR TV. We are bringing you the Spartan SimRacing League with their Friday night fun run cash dash here at Talladega Superspeedway on Primetime Racing TV. And it's going to be myself, Corey Silva, giving you the one-man call tonight. Kind of the one-trick pony. I'm going to be in the booth and working the cameras here tonight for what's going to be a 75-lap race here at Dega in our NASCAR Xfinity machines. And as we know on the iRacing service, the Xfinity machines are some of the best ones in terms of drafting, in terms of running all those different lanes and making the crazy moves, and that's why they are being run tonight in this series. So all of these guys have paid an entry fee to become eligible for this race, and essentially, from what I've been told, who wins the race gets the pot. So you have to still race with your head on. This isn't a complete free-for-all. There is, an incident limit. They do have a fast repair if and when things do go sour. So they still will have to race with their heads on. There is a 50% fuel limit as well, which we'll talk about in just a little bit as we are wrapping up qualifying right now. So there is going to be some money on the line just to add to the excitement, and we'll be covering these guys bi-weekly on Fridays. For the next 5 weeks, a little 5-week mini cash campaign. So kind of just a little bit more fun and out of the ordinary stuff for us on the channel. So that'll be a good time. And we're actually going to be covering their official, more standardized Cup Series League at the end of May for the Spartan SimRacing League. So if you are a member of the league, be a good time to hit that subscribe button. Make sure you catch all these races that this league is going to be offering us. But as you can tell, we have Christopher Bishop and that number 14 ride, a 53.91. And just look at the scoring pylon. As you'd expect, Talladega lap times basically are a tie. You pretty much we're going for a tenth of a second down all the way through looks like the 16 drivers that we do have registered for tonight's session. So thanks to everyone who has tuned in. Should be a good night. I'll do the best I can as the one-man show to make this a good race for us to watch, and hopefully these guys can do the same and give us some good, hard, clean racing. But what we're going to do right now is go trackside, and it's a night of fun, so we're going to bust out the retro music. We're going to go down trackside for the PTR TV starting lineup here at the Talladega Superspeedway. On tonight's poll with a lap time of 53.913, Christopher Bishop. Congratulations to him on that lap. Justin Botello on the outside of the front row in the 64 ride. Reese Schaefer in third. Bobby Anderson rolling off in fourth. Troy Teschmeyer, I'm going to get these names wrong. He just told me how to say this name, but I already forgot. I'm not going to lie. Ray Teschmeyer in the number 5th spot. Matthew Robinson in 6th. And we have Blair Holloman in 7th. And Jacob Sazala. I know I said that wrong. Jacob Sazala in 8th spot. Larry Rayborn in 9th. Bo Tiffany in 10th. Corey Saucier in 11th. Tommy Haynes in 12th. Cody Ivey in 13th. Heath Snyder in 14th. Andrew Cezanto, Robert Yost, and that'll be our 16-car grid. Literally, I was just talking to the admin about 5 minutes ago on names, and sorry guys, in one ear out the other. I'll get them for next week, though. I'll get a little bit more practice in, depending who does show up for the next session. But a couple other race details we got while we are waiting for the pace car to roll. As kind of senseless and useless as it is here at Talladega, we do have the weather conditions, 73 degrees in the air, but absolute scorcher on track, 116-degree track depth. My God. I'm not quite sure what has elevated the track depth so high, but even so, don't really expect it to cause any hindrance to these guys, because Talladega just has more grip than it knows what to do with. And then our race details here. 50% fuel load, as I said a little bit earlier, so expecting roughly 20-ish laps. So we have 75 on the docket for us here tonight. So, right there at a 3, maybe 2 stop race if this goes green, which is obviously a major undertaking for a Talladega race to go green. Talked about that incident limit, similar to how iRacing official races go. 13 incidents, roughly 3 wrecks, and you're parked. You're gone. You're disconnected. You are gonzo. So got to keep that in mind. That's what kind of keeps these guys in check. But there is one fast repair. So if you do get that damage, you do have the opportunity to roll one off the backup truck. Oh, roll a backup off the truck, whatever makes sense in that sentence, and get yourself a fresh ride. And then finally, our keys to the race, sponsored by, we don't have a sponsor for it yet, survival. Biggest thing with any plate race is you can't finish first if you don't first finish. And of course, the incentive to finish first tonight is moneyed, so you want to finish. You have to contain yourself and not make a crazy move on lap 2, because that may take you out and set you up for a battle that you have to come back from later on and all throughout the race. Find your friends. You got 16 guys here. That's an even number. Everybody should have a friend. Everybody should have a drafting partner. Everybody should have some kind of a teammate, whether official or not, because you got to know who's going to go with you, who's not, who can draft, who can't, who can hold the line, who can't. All these things you have to know at a restrictor plate track, and time your moves. As it kind of alluded to, you have to know, is that friend going to go with you? Is that friend going to bail? What are they going to do? Those are the things you need to know so that you can make the best opportunities happen. But let's see what is going to go off here tonight. We're at Talladega Superspeedway Spartan SimRacing League Friday Night Cash Dash on PTR TV. It's Corey in the booth giving you the calls, and we are waiting to get this race underway. Waiting on the green flag from the flag stand. Barney up on the flag stand has it, and he's waving it, and we're racing at Dega. So far, so good. Looks like top lane. Somebody's getting out of the way there. Looks like that's the 81 machine. Just completely just deciding, hey, you know what? Don't want to start up front right now, so playing the cautious route, apparently. I'm trying to make out who that is, because I don't see an 81 on my scoring, but I see an 81 car, so that's going to perplex me until I can figure it out. That is... Good. Learning names here, folks. Learning cars, learning names. Looks like that is, I believe, Botello. Just deciding he's going to ride there in the back from that second spot. Didn't want anything to do with it. But up front, looks like Bishop is going to lead that first lap with the help from the STP ride, the petty ride of Reese Schaefer. Looks like we got the Bonnie Labonte car up on the top of the racetrack. That number 18 Interstate Batteries. I almost said Pontiac because I was just playing ESPN music. Not quite a Pontiac. It is a Camaro, and it's also driven by Bobby. It's Bobby Anderson, that 80 machine. Matthew Robinson giving him a huge shove down the Alabama Gang super stretch here at Dega. See the push that the 80 is receiving from the 13 of Bo Tiffany, and Bo's like, no, I'm not going to push you. I might go for a 3 wide, or maybe I'm trying to breathe, get some air into my radiator there. Couldn't quite tell which one it was, but he's going to get back in line. That outside has about that car length advantage over the inside. We're going to go to the stripe. I think that Anderson's going to get it. And no, it's going to be Bishop on that inside lane. You can see that outside has really separated as we have a 3 wide in the middle there. That was Andrews Cezanto. I'm gonna, maybe someone in chat can type in the chat how to say the name and I'll get it right, but it's that John Andretti-esque retro, kind of a hodgepodge of petty schemes there and some other things. But that number 6 machine was put in the middle 3 wide just for a little bit, but everybody is back in where they need to be. And looks like we're 3 wide again up front. 80 machine of Robinson to the top. Don't know if that was to make a move or if that was to get out of the way. I'm going to take a gander that it was to get out of the way, because he is dropping like a rock. And he'll fall back to in the realm of the 10th position. Get himself situated. in front of Justin Patello. Everybody's still in the lead, drafting 16 drivers, so it's enough to cause some havoc, but it's not enough to kind of, if you fall back, you're not so far back that you kind of have to get impatient. So essentially 16th to first. I actually saw a video on iRacing's Facebook the other day of they saw a guy going from 21st to first in one lap, obviously with some assistance of Rex, but I mean that's what Talladega is known for. Is here we go, Bobby Anderson. He's going to the top. Now, I was told by our league admin that we do have fixed setups in these machines, so I'm not sure if it's the official set, if it's a custom set, what the tape level is, but a lot of these guys are just, you know, they're cruising along and then they're like, hey, I'm going to the back, so not too sure, but they're doing what they can, and that 14's just getting himself some free laps led, but a huge push. Bo Tiffany's getting that run from the top side of the racetrack right now with the 17 of Tommy Haynes giving him the shove. That got that outside lane moving in a hurry. Again, the 6 of Andrew Cesanto up there on that top groove. So 4 on the top, but that's about it. Everybody else is just kind of hanging out there on that inside lane. Looks like Patello is deciding to, you know, party up with these guys. Sometimes, especially in this kind of series, it's a reboot of the Cash Dash. They haven't run it in a few weeks, so they kind of have a slightly different group of drivers this week. So it all depends. You have to pay to play. So if you don't pay for that week, then, you know, you're not going to be eligible for the next event. So sometimes there's some different drivers in the mix. Usually they're used to having a little over 30, but we're trying to get some momentum back. So Cat unfortunately couldn't cover last week because the car count was too low. But this week we are here with you know, about 18 drivers, and I'm not sure why our ticker here is showing time instead of laps. See if I can get that fixed on the fly in just a little bit. But on the outside, looks like we're still in pace lap formation, and everybody's still within the draft. So that's one good thing about the Xfinity car, and kind of one of the reasons that they did choose it, is that it doesn't have the problem that some of the other cars have, where you kind of have what I call that last car syndrome, that essentially puts you all the way to the back of the, you lose the draft if you're a little bit too off of the back of the pack. So Xfinity car, everybody can usually stay pretty bunched up, which does you know, help with that good racing. Don't need to see the Buster Otten in that pace car. But just as I say that, it looks like Patello is actually dropping back probably a little bit more than he would like to right here. So we'll see. You don't want to drop too far back, more than roughly, I'd say 7/10. That's usually kind of the cut line in these cars, where you don't really want to go too much further back than that. We're going to turn our graphics off just for a second so that we can get our lap counter back on the screen for you, because it's a little bit easier. I just covered a road race the other day, and apparently my overlays were still thinking that they were covering a road race, so we'll get that up and fixed. So but right now it's still Bishop just holding that inside lane. Again, just kind of waiting it out. We expect, you know, based on what I was told, pit stops roughly around lap number 20-ish. You know, there's a big emphasis on the ish, so that could be 18, that could be 22. All that kind of depends where you are. If you're Bishop leading this pack now, you're probably going to be on the higher end, the lower end of that, because you're flat out. If you're running that top lane right now, it's probably going to be, you know, on the higher end, the lower end rather. You're going to be able to run less laps. But when you're in the middle of that pack, you're going to be able to go a little bit longer, because you're usually just riding and, you know, about half throttle. That'll save you some laps over the course of the fuel stint. So someone like the 6 right now, just kind of stuck there on that inside lane. I'd expect him to be able to go a little bit farther, but you also have to be communicating with everyone, because if you can go farther and they all can't, well, that means absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things. Loading up, and there we go. We have succeeded. We now have our lap counter up, so 9 out of 75, 10 Lap 10 out of 75 is what we are on right now, so about halfway through our expected fuel run. So far, nothing really out of the ordinary going on. I think everyone's just being patient at this point, just kind of just essentially killing laps, because we know that it's a small field, you know, relative terms, it's a small-ish field. So as I said, you can, you know, we have 16 guys here. That's 5 rows of 3, which 5 rows of 3 is not that much real estate. You can get that conged up pretty tight. So these guys know that the opportunities will be there. It's just a matter of getting to that point. And through every Talladega race, there's always somebody that speeds on the entry to the pits. There's always somebody that spins out. There's always someone that gets into the grass. There's always someone that, you know, just has an issue with the blue cone on the exit or 2. So this race really can't be decided until the end of that last pit stop, where you know exactly who's going to be in that drafting pack, however many drivers it may be. So at this point in the race, you are just kind of learning, all right, who's stable? Who do I feel like I can really lock bumpers with? How long can I lock bumpers? Who has good connection? Who's not blinking? Who's not, you know, bouncing around? Who's holding a stable line? Who's going to be good to pit with? All these things these drivers are kind of they're creating these like scouting reports, if you will. And these scouting reports are what you use to figure out what you're going to do at the end of the race when the money literally is on the line. If you're Christopher Bishop right now, I'm going to safely say you're probably bored right now. There's something that I like to say on these plate races is they're intent. They can be, especially on these opening laps, they can kind of be intensely boring, which is it's a really big juxtaposition. But you are vice grip on the wheel. You're making sure you're holding a steady line. You're looking at your mirror. You're looking left. You're looking right. You're listening to your spotter. You have a lot going on. But at the same time, you're not really attempting to do too much. As we said, you're attempting to get to the end of the race and then make your move when, the time actually is, of more significance. So at this point in the race, we are just kind of cruising around, and that outside is really, really dropped back. And Schaefer is just kind of not too close to the back bumper. He's giving him little shoves here and there within about a car length at most. Kind of go to the gearbox cam. You can kind of see this is the back of Schaefer to Teichmeyer. I know I'll get that right one of these days. Kind of go back in time about a half hour ago and try to remember what the admin told me. I can't do it though. Tommy Haynes, huge shove on the top from Matt Robinson. Now here's something that happens in these Xfinity cars. Do you drop down once you clear the bottom line? It looks like that time by the 17 of Haynes, he's going to kind of be a good soldier and stay with his drafting compadre up there of Robinson. But I'll tell you, sometimes it's actually, if you're Robinson, you've shoved so hard to get that 17 in that position, you want him to drop down because you need that air on your radiator. You need to cool down that engine. So when he doesn't drop down, it's almost frustrating for you because you're stuck there with an engine that you can't cool down. So I don't know if any of that communication may have occurred. But then that top line had a major shove, and it looks like they're trying to go at it. Take number 2, 14's, 43 says, well, hey, if you're going to lock bumpers, I'm going to lock bumpers. Trying to give that 14 a little bit of surge to avoid getting passed by that 17. And that's the 3 machine of Corey Saucier. Just behind. And that's really all we got on the top of the racetrack. We have Botello in the 81 kind of looking to the top of the track, but not really in any serious tone. Another thing to note as well is that for these Xfinity cars, at least from an iRacing perspective, have a entirely different drafting model on them. The air, just because iRacing, I don't think they've gotten this far yet. They have a lot to develop with the next gen still. They haven't incorporated a lot of aero physics that they learned for the next gen onto Xfinity, so we don't have the same style of side drafting. We don't really have the same style of drafting overall. These cars are a different animal, and you can kind of be a lot more aggressive and a lot more, quick with your moves, rather with the next gen where everything has to be heavily calculated. So that's why these cars are fun for these kind of races, because you can just pop and make a move whenever you want. You don't have to sit there for 3 or 4 laps and, build a line and, ensure you don't get side drafted and, really consider the air. Whoa, up the track there was that 32 of Troy. I don't know if he got pushed into the middle groove there, but that was a tight situation. But again, everyone's just not really pushing the envelope too much. Gave him the room to do what he needed to do to regain, control of his vehicle. On board with the Cheerios onboard camera right now. See Andrew up 8 spots from his 15th starting spot, so good effort there. You can hear all that off throttle time. But we're on lap 18, so again, based on what we've been told, we'd expect some pit stops in the very, very near future. And admin weren't too specific with what a fuel run would be. He said, roughly 20 laps is what he'd expect, but there's no definitive way to confirm that. 17 grabbed the lead on the outside, did exactly as I thought he would do at some point. Did drop to the bottom. So that's the first time that the inside lane has a new leader. That there of Tommy Haynes, but look at that 80 machine getting the push from Corey Saucier. The 80 machine only takes a 2-car tango to the top of the track to build some mow up. And that 80 is going to get the lead at the stripe. We'll see if he can drop down. Yes, he can drop down to them. They're kind of playing leapfrog with that outside lane right now. Now Saucier says, hey, now it's my turn. Andrew, give me some push. Give me some mow. Give me some speed up on this top lane. And the two of them are doing just that. Kind of two-car tango. Let's see if that 3 has enough mow to drop down. And they both do. I almost wonder if that was coordinated, because typically you don't clear 2 cars like that. And look how much they've separated. I wonder if this is the pit stop lap. It most certainly is. Let's see, we have just about everybody. I see some smoke, which is fine, but look at that. I think all but 3 drivers onto pit lane. Everybody did a good job getting slowed down. I didn't see any damage. Didn't see any anybody that looked like they were speeding. But 3 guys did stay out. Botello, Snyder, and Anderson. I think they're definitely going to want to pit this time by, because if they stay out too long, the difference between 3 cars and 13 cars in the draft is going to be pretty big, so they'll lose a bunch of time if they do stay out. Looks like the 6th machine is going to be the first of the bunch to exit the pits. You can see that huge gap that he has. That's not actually going to work to his advantage. Looks like this from my internal telemetry that I have. He had the shortest pit stop. Everybody else was in the 8 seconds. He actually had a 7.7 stop. So much faster stop for that Cheerios gang, but it probably get him swallowed up. As your other 3, Botello, Snyder, and Anderson, they will come down to their pits. Whoa, Botello, kind of a late entry into a stall there. Thought he was going to overshoot it. Left side's going up on that 64 ride. And it looks like him and Bobby Anderson kind of get off in unison there. 225 of Snyder. He is going to tag along to the tail end. He has a little bit of time to go to get there, but I think he should be able to get that draft from there. But let's see where the rest of the drivers are. The 6th machine is at start finish, entering turn 1. And you can see here from the top of the shot, we'll switch cams here. And there they are. Let's see how these guys merge together. It might actually work out quite perfectly for everybody. 32 goes to the outside. That's Troy. He's going to clear the 6 of Andrew. But that worked out absolutely perfectly, at least for those drivers. So those top 3 that did stay out against what I thought, they merged quite well into the pack. So that's going to give us, looks like 9 drivers. Reese Schaefer is going to be the last one in the pack, and then we have to go back a second to Chris Bishop. So remember, he was the leader for the majority of that first segment, and he is just at that cutoff point. He is about 8/10 off of the back bumper of Cesanto. But I think they're going to play nice with him. It looks like they are playing nice with him. Yep, the 6 did. That was a, I'm assuming that was a gentleman move that they coordinated, or some kind of chat. You know, they can talk to each other in the voice chat, so I think they coordinated that to pick up the 14. So, you know, sportsmanlike effort there, but that's the top 10. That still leaves us 6 drivers who are out to pasture. Jacob Zala, he's going to get swallowed up by Rayborn Holloman Saucier. I don't know what happened to him. Ivy and Robert Yost is literally the Lone Ranger off on Gilligan's Island in the middle of nowhere, so he will need the help of a caution. For you Saucier fans, he did take from the telemetry, it looks like he did take 4 tires. His pit stop was in the 14-second bracket. Everybody else's was in the 7 to 9-second bracket. So we'll see how that plays out for his strategy over the remainder of the race. But for the time being, he is lost connection with the leaders, which is where he was just prior. Well, Justin Botello has inherited the lead through that pit cycle. Bobby Anderson in a temporary second spot, fighting with Troy in that 32 machine. Outside lane has about 5 drivers in it, so it's basically a split bag right now between lines of who's running where and who's going to do what. Outside's going to get some mow right now because that 32 has the push from Bo Tiffany. That 81 lost his push on the inside from that 29 machine. Trying to make out who that 29 machine is, because I believe that the numbers do not match. Yep, that's Heath Snyder. He's registered, it looks like, as the 225, but in sim, well, with his paint job, it's 81, so that sometimes gets a little bit confusing. But we will make note of that going forward. You can see Snyder. And what's that say on that hood? Racer Apparel. Sponsoring that ride. A little bit of a tandem job that they're doing there. Look, he kind of pulled away by a car length or so over Tommy Haynes, and looks like this lead pack will kind of single out, with the exception of the 32 and the 80 up there. Bobby Anderson's kind of saying, hey, don't drop me, don't drop me, don't drop me. Oh, 6 machine have some connectivity issues there. He dropped out of the draft, or rather dropped out of the world for a split second, but he is back. Now, what I am looking at here is that second pack was roughly 4 seconds back, I believe, at the pit stop. So what I want to do is I'm going to switch the ticker on the left side over to show lap times, and we can establish that the leaders are running in the mid-51s and that second pack's running in the mid-50s. So they are going to eat up that gap very, very quickly. But unfortunately for Yost, obviously running by himself there, he is running much slower laps than that. In the 54s, running by himself. So, but that second pack is going to catch up. That's going to give us a 15-car battle up front. And based on what we saw, where the average stint is around, we're about 7 laps in. We'll pull up our stint graphic on your display. You can see 8 laps since the pit, so they pitted on lap 18 to 20-ish in that range, so we'd expect another stop around lap number 36. But we are, well, I am a one-man show, and I got to talk for about an hour and a half, so while we get a little bit of gap in the action, I'm going to go side by side for a minute or two, so you can grab a drink, you'll see the action on the screen, and we'll be right back with you. Back here just after a quick little break on PTR TV, where that outside lane just got another surge. I'll tell you, the 2-car little tandems that I'm seeing on the top of the track are much of a surprise to me, because every time I've run this combo, I have not been able to do that with just 2 cars, maybe 3 to 4, but just 2 is a pretty big accomplishment. But that 16 is going to have to make the decision, rather the 17, well, not much of a decision, because he just dropped right to the bottom of the racetrack and left the 6 machine of Cezanto up there with the 14 of Bishop. And as you can see, the rest of the pack has closed in. And it looks like I can report that Robert Yost has retired from the race. It looks like he is off the track. So remember, he did lose time, I believe it to be just on the pit stop, but decided to part ways with the event for the evening. So it'll be 15 guys to ride this out. We're closing in on the halfway point. 32 goes below the apron there. 81 looks to the top with the help from the 225 of Snyder. Remember the 225 of Snyder that you see on your graphics on the left side of the screen. He is the number 29 in Sim. So just kind of remember that, as the 6 machine's going to try to go 3 wide to the top by himself. I don't really expect that to work, but he's making the effort for it. So valiant effort by Cezanto to the top of the track. He will think better of it, drop behind. Patello goes to the bottom of the track, leaving Snyder there. Looks like Patello tried to kind of cover both lanes for as long as he could, but eventually just sufficed to stay on the bottom. And now that 29, 225, whatever you want to call him, he has the surge from the 6. The 6 has been a phenomenal pusher tonight. He's going to clear Snyder, so Snyder's going to drop to the bottom now. And now the 6 ride of Cezanto, he's going to be on that top. He's going to have the opportunity to lead this race. Now, is he going to do the same thing? That's the million-dollar question. That's what we've seen these guys do all night. See on board with him in that number 6 machine. Notice waiting on that push. Let's see if it doesn't quite have it. Bishop needs to get right up and give him that big shove that he needs. See here as we pan the camera around, that outside lane is losing some time here. We pan the camera around, see what's going on up front. See, he just has that little bit of space left. About 3 cars, but here comes the 17 of Haynes. Tommy Haynes, he's going to try to take that push. But that push isn't going to go anywhere. I think everyone's kind of realizing that that 6 machine is the guy that you want on your bumper if you want to make that outside groove surge. Because he has a knack for it. Whatever he's doing, remember, it's all fixed setup. But he just has a knack for it. He's just really getting these guys some mo built up and getting them clear. So we'll see if that 17 can clear and drop down in front of Snyder this time. Looks like he is nearly clear, but not quite. He will be clear this time by on the top of the racetrack, and here goes to the top of the track Cesanto. He's going to try to take an opportunity to take the lead. He's going to have some blinking issues, though. That 14 of Bishop trying to give him the push. The 80 of Robinson kind of off-center there. I thought there was going to be a push there. Potentially a little bit of a turn situation because he looked like he was going to push, but he was off-center. Luckily, he backed off and gave him the space, as the outside will have to regroup itself. We go down the back straightaway here, a little bit of a 3-wide move. Bishop's going to try to go to the top with the push from the 80 of Robinson. Now they're going to leave the 6 machine of Andrew Cesanto in the middle, kind of in no man's land, the meat in the sandwich there, except it's only a single slice of turkey there on that sandwich. I don't want to have any part of that sandwich. That 6 machine's going to drop back like a rock and actually drop back quite far, all the way back to 11th. Almost makes me wonder if he had to really check up there. But now we have, let's see, Robinson in the 80 machine. He's going to be on that top of the racetrack. He's going to have the push from Saucier. When Saucier, he was up front, lost all that time, dropped to the back of the pack. He had that 4-tire pit stop that cost him all that time that we were talking about. Well, in hindsight, it didn't matter at all, because he's right here in the 2nd position, giving Robinson that shove. Now, are they both going to try to clear? Because Robinson's going to stay on the top of the racetrack. I don't know if Saucier wants him to drop down or if they're trying to do this together. Well, I think they're going to drop down together. And yes, they are. And they're going to leave Cody Ivey. They're going to leave him up there by himself. I mean, it's almost impossible to get 2 cars to clear. It's even harder to get 3, and unfortunately they didn't want to let him clear, but he's going to be able to drop in not too far back, just behind the 14 of Bishop. Looks like things have separated out, and who's that to the top of the track? The 12 machine of Larry Rayborn. I don't think I've mentioned his name outside of just our starting lineup here tonight, but he's up there by himself essentially in that Ford Quality Care Mustang. Except it's Ford Quality Care, Ford Credit, but it is definitely not a Dale Jarrett car for sure. But he's in that 6th spot, and outside of him, well, besides him, it's a choice of different verbiage there. You can see everybody is back to the bottom of the track as we are on lap number 36, and I would expect pit stops within a lap or two. We pitted on lap 18 last time by, so we're on lap number 37 now. So 18 times 2 is 36. So, you know, between now and 40, I would expect these guys to drop down and make that 2nd pit stop of the race. But the big kicker is that you can't go to the end here based on what we know, which is approximately 20 laps on fuel with these 50% limits. You can't go to the end. And here, I thought I saw some guys bite into the inside, but did not see that. So they will go and stay on the track. A little bit of a gap, 4th on back. So Ivy in that 81 has about a couple car lengths on the 5th spot of Tommy Haynes. But as we go on the rear deck cam here, you can kind of see everybody is conga lined out. And this is all 15 drivers that we do have in this race. So we're going to still have one more pit stop, so it's going to be very pivotal, because now we have green flag flare to this race. So it's going to be a matter of, you can't spare a mistake, because sparing a mistake right now in a race that has green flag flare, you're probably not going to have that yellow to get you built back up to where you want to be. You're going to just end up having all of that time lost and probably your race over. Looking back a little ways, Bobby Anderson and Blair Holloman just on the edge of the draft here. They'll have to wait for a little bit of a checkup. Yeah, I think they're within a half second. They're good. As long as you're within about 7, 8 tenths, usually you're okay. Any farther back than about 7, 8 tenths, then you're going to have to start asking your buddies to be nice to you, because there's no guarantee you'll be able to get it back from there. And here we come. Pit road's a busy place. 80 machine. Hard into the pits. Uh-oh, 61 machine. A little bit of contact. That's the 61 machine. A lot going on there. It's Jacob Cesala. He's into the grass. The 6 machine of Andrew Cesanto, he got some front end damage there. And these guys checking up, missing their boxes. Let's try to see if we can catch that on replay from our chopper cam. Get a good look for what happened for you. On pit entry, we're focusing on the 12 of Larry Rayborn and the 6 of Andrew Cesanto entering the pits. The 13 machine, a little bit of a push into the back. Actually, that 13 machine kind of played Plinko there on the entry of the pits. That was Bo Tiffany. So I don't know how happy the drivers are going to be on the radio with him. He really had some trouble rolling up there and again played some Plinko on the way into the pits. But luckily these guys do have the fast repairs, and based on what I'm seeing, I don't think that the 6 used it, because that hood, yeah, you can most certainly see he did not use it. And then just as last time, Botello and 2 compadres behind him all choose to pit together on the lap after the big pack. It worked out well for them last time by. Looks like they're doing a phenomenal job there of coming in, coming out just in a group, and looks like Snyder and Anderson are gonna kind of battle here on the pit exit road. Robinson, he's in 4th, and he is just ahead of the pack. That's Bishop and Saucier, Haynes and company. So if anything, the Botello didn't, they were a little bit behind where they were last time. The pack caught them at the end of the backstretch last time. This time they caught them on the flat in 1 and 2, and that's going to put them right in a comparable, that's going to put them in a very difficult position, is a word I'm looking for. I can't come up with it. It's going to put them in a difficult position, because now they're over a second off of the lead pack, so it'll take maybe a little bit of luck of them being nice, backing off, or just a lot of checkups to get them back into it. They're hovering right around 9 tenths now, so I think they might be coming back as a side-by-side battle in front of them. Maybe woes that pack up a little bit. So with that pit stop on lap number 40-ish, I would expect these guys to come for their final stop on lap number 60. Now, one thing to remember is that we do have green-white checkers available. I believe it is 3 of them, if I remember the race details properly. So if we do have a green-white checker, we pit on lap 40. It's going to be pretty close. I think if we do have a green-white checker, everybody is going to pit just for the sake of fuel. You might be able to squeeze 1. We do have the short cautions here at Talladega. The way iRacing does it, every caution, I think, is only about 3 laps. So we do have shorter cautions, but you can save a lot of fuel by clutching it and rolling here. But I think everybody will pit if there is a green-white checker, but that's to say we even have a caution in this race. I mean, we're just chugging along. We're 43 laps in. We have estimated to, oh, whoa, 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 apron there. Bishop on the apron. We've got a little bit too big of a push from Saucier. Everyone is going to be able to gather it up and continue. Big question is whether Saucier is going to be able to hang on to the draft here. He's going to be roughly a half second beyond the back of Cezanto. So I think once the 6 kind of is comfortable that he is within reach of the 14, he may be able to back up a little bit to Saucier. Yeah, I believe it should be fine. I mean, there's no way for me to know because obviously I don't have the voice comms up, but it does seem like there is some camaraderie going on with these guys to make sure that, you know, they can put on a good show. They're not dropping each other. Like if they can save each other, they're not going to drop them. Because, well, Cezanto, that's number 6 ride. He is won 1.2 seconds now, so, and he's blinking. And every time he blinks, that hurts their draft. That slows them down because there's nothing to draft with if your car is not visible in the world. So 6 and the 3 might be out of this. Worth noting as well, Rayborn, Holloman, and Ivy, they have lost the draft. Again, and I'm just looking again at the pit times here. And they all took 2 tires, but I believe it's hard to tell. Now, the 81 was certainly in the grass there, but I definitely think all that kind of coagulating that those guys did on the entry to the pits. Some guys had to whoa up a little bit more than others did, and it did allow some separation between the packs. So, still have looks like 8 drivers in the lead draft, but I think that was as good a time as ever to do a little bit of through the field, you know, and give some camera time to your favorite driver. Currently your leader, Justin Botello, in the number 81 Toyota. Heath Snyder is in the second spot. Bobby Anderson in 3rd. Reese Schaefer in 4th. Tommy Haynes is in 5th. We have Matt Robinson in 6th. Bo Tiffany in 7th. Christopher Bishop in 8th. Andrew Cezanto in 9th. Corey Saucier in 10th. Larry Rayborn in 11th. Blair Holloman in 12th. Cody Ivy in 13th. Troy Teichmeyer in 14th. Jacob Sazala in 15th. And then retired out of the race is Robert Yost, who retired approximately 20 laps ago. All the way to the top of the track is Bobby Anderson. Not sure if he is just, it must be intentionally just kind of deciding to drop back to the tail end of the pack. I just do want to take this opportunity to thank everybody for tuning in on a Friday night or whenever you happen to be watching this to PTR TV, or it's a new series. If you haven't subbed to the channel, most certainly would appreciate a click of that sub button and a thumbs up and the bell icon, all that fun stuff. We do have our Facebook and our Twitter as well. We are on our YouTube for road to 1,000. We have a stretch goal to get to 1,000 subs by the end of the summer. If we do, we're giving a fan $100 in merch with a die-cast car, some paint schemes, a couple t-shirts. We're going to give the leagues some free races to celebrate, so it doesn't cost any money to hit a couple buttons and share some content. So if you don't mind doing that, might get yourself some free merch and help out your favorite league owners. So that is that little channel publicity there. And of course, if you're not an iRacing member, go to iRacing.com and check it out. I imagine most of us are, but you know, we do have some friends and family that do watch that aren't really too knowledgeable about what we're doing here in SimWorld. So of course, check out iRacing.com if you're indeed not a member yet. 80 Machina Robinson goes to the back of the pack. These guys kind of playing Congo with each other, or leapfrog. I think that's the more realistic game for it. Again, Rayborn, Holloman, and Ivy all about 3 seconds back now. Looks like didn't quite catch it on cam, but Zanto and Saucier were able to catch back up to the lead draft, which obviously works out for them. 6 Machine looks to the inside of Saucier. Now he's going to work with Bobby Anderson in that 18 Machine. Boils down to an interesting question for the 6 as we're coming down to the last caution. Well, the last pit stop. And trying to see who has who's going to use their fast repair. I don't have a way to show it on screen for you guys at home, but I can get the details of that from my back-end telemetry. And I can confirm that the 61 did have to use a fast repair. And I can confirm that Saucier used a fast repair. But as I said, the 6 didn't. And he could see that damage on the front of his hood. I'll see if I can go maybe the rear gearbox cam off the 18 and we can kind of get a... Oh, that's the wrong camera. See if we can get a good view of the front end of that 6 Machine. You can see how crumpled up it is. Gotta see if I can pan the camera around if I can. No, of course it doesn't. Why would it ever want to work for me? Technology. Why would technology ever want to work when you queue it up? Yeah, we'll try to zoom in. Yeah, you can kind of see that front end damage on the 6, and that is going to slow him up just a little bit. So he's not going to be a leader. He's going to be a pusher, which he's been good at all race, but he's not going to be as good of a pusher with what he's got for damage. But up front, they've decided to try to shake it up one more time. 81 to the inside of Botello. Number 81 is being registered as the 64. We do have some paint scheme mismatches, so if it confuses me, I'm sure it confuses you, so we just kind of have to make note and try to remember what's going on. But Bo Tiffany, remember, I called him jokingly the Plinko on that pit stop because he did kind of have some issues slowing down, but he did manage to get himself, you know, through his pit stop successfully and didn't really get any damage from it. And is currently hanging on to the lead, but Saucier, again, he's had it up and down day. Front of the field, back of the field. Losing the draft, getting it back, but has managed to persevere every time. And typically with the way that this league is going to work, they kind of estimate, they kind of build for about a 40-car field, and they kind of build the estimates of winning a couple $100 a race off of those grid estimates, and when they don't happen, they kind of change up the divvy. So basically, the majority of the pot is going to the winner tonight. They're not doing as many breakdowns, so there is a pretty decent prize, at least $100, if not more than that. Probably closer to $200 to win this race. So these guys are gonna want to go for it. Remember, they put money in. It wasn't, you know, just a sponsored thing. They put money in, almost not quite gambling because you're in control of your own destiny, but at the same time you're betting on yourself that, you know, you can roll the die and you can work with people. It's almost difficult too because you're working with people who they don't want to work with you because they don't want you to win because they want to win. So it's like, the thing with plate racing is you're kind of developing relationships with these drivers and, you know, partnerships, drafting partners. But you're not going to find in this situation, you're not going to find a drafting partner who's content to sit there behind you because they want to take the lead. It's a very, very interesting dynamic, and it's none that I've ever personally been in. I almost have some kind of interest in doing it, but I don't think my wife would let me throw money down on a pay-to-win race because, you know, that's just not marriage is like, but maybe that's just personal information. 10 drivers in that lead pack right now, so the fuel window, if you're not banking on a green-white checker, our fuel window is open right now. We are at 20 to go. So you could, by pitting now, make the end of the race on the fuel you would get off a pit stop. But I believe at least these guys have about 2, maybe 3 more laps, and they're gonna need to use, well, actually probably closer to 5 laps, I would say. They're gonna use all of that buffer that they have, because that buffer is gonna give them a free pass at staying out if we do have, you know, overtime situation. So you're gonna want to do that, and we know Botello and Snyder, and can't remember the last one, but those 3 drivers that would stay out every single time. An extra lap beyond the pack. And now our pack is only 10, so are they going to do that same strategy this time? So we do have that last pack. We do have Troy Teichmeyer in that 32. He is the Lone Ranger this time. We saw it with Robert Yost very early in the race, but he is the driver now, just currently running completely by himself. So he is going to need a caution as well. You know, he's praying for it. And you're praying for a caution for your own sake, but at the same time, you don't want to be it. I mean, oh, let's just be real. If you spin out by yourself here at Talladega with no drafting help, that's a completely different situation that you should be concerned about. But you don't necessarily want these guys to wreck. You want, you know, a good fair race. But you know the only way that you're going to be in it is if a caution comes out. So you're praying for it, but I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening till probably within 5 to go, and you know, we turn the aggression to the top. We've seen, you know, some good hard racing. We haven't really seen dedicated 3 wide for a significant amount of time. That is going to be hard to do just with the car count. Usually to get 3 wide working on a large scale, you probably need at least 20 guys to have enough energy to create those different surges. Unfortunately, we're not really going to have that tonight. So that 3rd lane is going to be difficult to get going, but you could still definitely play games with the drafting. Who's going to go to the outside and creating checkups, you know, on the inside lane, all that stuff you can still do with any amount of cars. So you'll still have to be preparing and planning for these things. Coming off, this is lap number 58. We're taking lap number 59 this time by. So pit stop should be any time now, and if there's any pit stop to not screw up, it's going to be this one. Because there's not really going to be a chance to recover from it. Unless we get a caution. But if we don't get a caution and you have a bad stop and, you know, you and your partner just fall too far back out of the draft range, I don't think these guys are going to check up and give it to you. Give you a chance to slow up and, you know, tail onto the back of the pack. You have to, you know, take care of that yourself. And here we come with the peel off. Botello and Snyder will stay out, but everybody else will come in. A little bit of smoke from Schaefer there. Whether he slowed down to the speed limit is slightly questionable. But we'll see if that 6 machine, focus on him for a quick bit. See if he does take that fast repair. Yes, he does. Clean ride for that number 6 ride. Long pit stop for him in comparison to everybody else. At least it looked like it anyways. 7-9. I guess it wasn't, but it just seemed it anyways. But we'll see what happens with Botello and Snyder. Anderson just a skosh behind these guys. He's going to really have to send it to try to make that time up to be able to stay with them, and I think he's doing just that. He's absolutely yeeting it to the pit line. Look at him gain all that time up. Probably gained about 6 or 7 car lengths just yeeting it down there on the pit entry. That's where you can make up a lot of time. So good job to that number 18 machine. He was pretty far back from them, but got to within proximity. Now we have Schaefer and Saucier in turn 3 right now. You can see about 3 drivers. That's Bo Tiffany and Robinson trying to sniff, but he should be able to catch up from there. But then Tommy Haynes and Santo, they're gonna need some help. They're about 2 seconds back. Bishop, he's probably gonna get to the 17 and the 6. But Ivy and Rayborn, you know, they were already farther back anyways, so they're still waiting on that caution. But here comes Botello exiting the pits. This is that good range to be in, because I think he'll be able to retain himself in that pack. Him and Snyder should both be okay in that regard. Unfortunately for Anderson, I think he will fall into the clutches of the 17 and the 6, so should be able to stay with them. And if they work together and get enough of a break, they should, you know, it's only about a second, I believe. You know, they're about 1.2 seconds back right now from the back bumper of Snyder. So it's a very close call whether they'll get there, because, you know, we have Botello and Snyder. I mean, they pitted by themselves essentially, and they'll be able to tie up and get to the back of Anderson, or rather Robinson, excuse me, in the 80. And here they go to the outside lane. So we have Schaefer, Saucier, Tiffany, Botello, Robinson, and Snyder. 6 guys. And we'll switch the lap times over to on the left side of the screen. So we'll try to see this time by what the laps are. The 29 and the 81, absolute mega surge on the top of the track. Botello, you can see that lap time, 49.85. Trying to see that second hack led by Anderson, 49.8. So pretty good lap, especially in relation to 6th place of Robinson. And you can see that just in and of itself allowed them to catch up. So it looks like we're gonna have looks at 9 guys to finish this one out. That's gonna be enough for a good field, a good finish, I do believe, is 32 of Troy Teichmaker. He's gonna get himself lapped down now. Still can get a lucky dog, so if that caution does come out, he's still in free pass position. He can't give up quite yet, but obviously not the most fun situation for the 32 ride, but he's hanging on and praying. Saucier to the apron. Not sure what's going on there. Try to go back on replay and see if something happened to that 3 ride. No, I can't quite make it out. Trying to check one more time. We'll go on board with him. Oh yeah, he kind of got loose on entry there and kind of chose to stay on the apron, I believe, to be safe for everybody else. That was a gentleman move on his part to stay on the apron there. What he could have done was go onto the track, kind of force himself on the track, make everybody else move up, but he took the sportsman move, and that sportsman-like move probably just took him out of the draft. He's right at that range, 1.2 seconds. So if there's enough of a drop off, perhaps that 32, he could say, hey Troy, you're off the lead lap, you mind just backing up for me? And it actually looks like that might be happening. But look at what we have going on in that lead pack. It is starting to shuffle up and getting a lot more intense up here. 17 in the 80, rocking the top groove with the 18 of Anderson, 13 of Tiffany. But that 81 and 29 rocking that inside groove. And if you have two guys planted to the inside with that much kind of contentness for it, it's really hard to break that up. But that 6, he's been a pusher all day, but he's going to be a pushy, using that 17 of Haynes as the push for him. 80 of Robinson, 5 guys to the top, about 6 guys to the bottom. The lap car of the 32 kind of shuffled into the mix behind Saucier, or rather in front of Saucier. Always gets interesting at these plate tracks when you have a lapper in the mix towards the end, because you know they have every right to be there, but you don't know who they're going to go with, what their intent's going to be, what's their motive, because they can very easily affect what you know, the air and who's going to go around, who's going to do what. So it'll be interesting to see if that comes into play at any capacity, or if he decides to drop to the back, or whatever the case may be. He's going to choose to drop out of it. 32 machine, he's going to just not drop out entirely, but he's just going to hang out at the end of the draft, I do believe, and again, just wait for that potential caution. I almost said inevitable, because usually it is inevitable that we're going to have a caution, but these guys haven't really raced in a way that kind of shows any sense of endangerment, at least from a spectator perspective. I don't know what it's like behind the wheel, but at least from a spectator's view, it doesn't really seem like these guys are going to have that kind of issue, that they're going to have any kind of wrecks. But, you know, we still have 7.5 laps to go. Roughly 7 minutes of actual on-track action remaining in tonight's Spartan SimRacing League Cash Dash. And you'll be able to catch this on PTR TV on alternating Fridays for the next about 5 weeks. I believe we'll be covering next week, because we missed last week. That was supposed to be the start. I believe we're doing next week too. Be subject to change. You can always, you know, subscribe to the channel, and you'll be able to see the video schedule up there to confirm those dates. But Cesala to the top, rather Cesanto to the top of the track. And he's been the pusher and can't figure out exactly what he's doing. He made a really sharp turn to the outside there. I'm not really sure what he's doing there, but looks like everybody, it's kind of ended up like one of the cup races do. Everybody races 2-3 wide the entire race, and then the last couple laps it goes single file because nobody wants to lose spots, or perhaps they're just trying to wait and time the runs for the absolute last second. Not too sure, but things have calmed down as we're coming towards the end. Looks like that 29 taking a little bit of a look to the outside there. Not sure if that was, again, it could have been for air, or it could have been an intent to try to strum up some interest of what's going on behind. Yeah, because if you're Snyder, you don't know if that 43, he might know. They might have voice comms. They might have already, you know, he might have already got some hints. Is that 43 going to stay in line? Is he going to fill the gap on the bottom? Saucier, I would have to take a gander that he is going to take a move to the outside lane. He seemed like he's, you know, not content to stay put. So I'd have to imagine he's going to take that move to the outside. I would think Bo Tiffany would probably go with him, and most certainly that 6 machine will go with him. And you want that Cheerios ride on your back bumper, because he's been the best pusher all night. He's gotten that outside lane going every single time. 2-car tandem style guys will clear for the lead. So I want that 6 machine covering my back bumper right now. So I'd feel pretty damn good if I was that number 13 ride right now in that 5th spot. But even with that 6, they're not going to go up to the front by themselves if those 4 guys in front stay solid in line. They're going to have to start shaking it up and get a little bit of, you know, checking up and momentum shifting for anybody that far back to make a move. And then, of course, you have, you know, Bobby Anderson, you have Tommy Haynes, you have Matt Robinson. They're 7th, 8th, 9th, but they're not giving up. They don't want to be out of it. They're still in this lead pack and have every opportunity to make something happen. So, but they can't do anything until things start shaking up. Anderson trying to take a little bit of a look to the inside of Haynes there. Again, just kind of, you're kind of just casting bait right now. You're trying to figure out, all right, if I take a little bit of a move to the outside, is that guy behind me going to follow that move, or is he going to stay put? Because if he stays put, I know I can't make that move. And I think that's a little bit of what that 225 / number 29 of Snyder's doing. He's kind of running a little bit higher lane through the center of the corner. And now he may be doing that to, you know, cool the motor down a little bit, cool the radiator down, but it could very well to see if that 43 is going to bite. You know, we got a Toyota leading the field right now with Botello, but we have 4 Chevys 2nd through 6th right now. And, you know, on iRacing, there's not so much manufacturer alliances, you know, actual contractual obligations, but, you know, you kind of want to stick with your Chevy brigade. If you're a bow tie, you want to stay with the bow ties. If you're a Yoda guy, you want to stay with the Yoda guys. And if you're a Yoda guy, you have to go back to the 6th spot to find one. But here goes the 3 Associate at the top. He's going to use that Yoda of Andrew Cesanto in that 6th machine. And look at, he's doing exactly what he does best. And he's been doing best all day. He's given those amazing pushes. But here comes the 13 machine. He's going to try to take that momentum from Saucier. We're coming to 2 laps to go here at Talladega. Who's going to win the big money? We're going to find out in about 5.2 miles. Remember, once we get to the white flag, it's a free-for-all. It doesn't matter how many cars are upside down and on fire. I'm sorry about that. It doesn't matter what happens on that white flag lap. If we get to the white flag, the race will not conclude till the checker. We will not have any interruptions until then. So that outside lane has the push right now. The 13 of Bo Tiffany. He should be able to clear right now if he so desires, but he's going to stay up there with the push from Saucier. Through the center of the corner, that number 81 machine of Botello is able to, you know, gain through the center of the corner using the shorter line. Snyder is tied to his back bumper. 43 machine just behind the Schaefer, but that's the white flag, folks. We're going to the checkers one way or another. Who's going to win the big money here tonight in the SSRL Cash Dash? 13, again, still has that push from Saucier. You can see the pushes are that much tighter. Some 3 wide going on in the back of the pack. The 81 is clear of the outside, but here comes the push down the back straightaway. Here comes the push. How far is it gonna go? That 13 just doesn't have enough. Now, what's Snyder gonna do? Is Snyder gonna try to take the surge from the outside and win the money himself? Is he committed to the back of Botello? We're gonna find out off of 4. Remember the quad oval, the tri-oval here at Talladega, the start-finish line all the way at the end. It looks like that 225 of Snyder is committed. He's going to stay right on the back bumper of Justin Botello. Botello is the money man. He wins at Talladega tonight. And Snyder 2nd, Schaefer 3rd, Tiffany and Haynes rounds out your top 5 here at Talladega. And I'll tell you, if I'm Botello, I'm sharing some of that pot with Heath Snyder because he was committed to that back bumper. When I thought that there was an opportunity for Bo Tiffany on that outside lane, potentially that 225, again, I was calling out wrong numbers there because they're mixed numbers and I get excited, but there was opportunities there to have that 225 to go to the top of the track and, you know, maybe get the money himself, but Botello was able to hang on, get the push, and he is going to take the crown here at Talladega tonight. And you can see he's going to do that Kenseth style burnout. Maybe because Kenseth's in the Hall of Fame, he's going to do the Kenseth slide through the grass, and not quite the result that Kenseth did when he used to do them. But what we're going to do now is head down and give you your final results here tonight before we start our post-race show here on the channel. Final results here from the Talladega Super Speedway. Justin Botello with the win over Heath Snyder in 2nd, Reese Schaefer in 3rd, Bo Tiffany in 4th, Tommy Haynes with the 5th. And then we have Corey Sauce in 6th, Anderson Zanto in 7th, Bobby Anderson in 8th, Matt Robinson in 9th, and then Chris Bishop rounding out your top 10. Remaining results here: Larry Rayborn in 11th, Blair Holloman in 12th, Cody Ivey in 13th, Troy Teigmaker in 14th, Jacob Sazala and Robert Yost, your 16 drivers available here tonight. So we are going to step aside for a brief moment here, try to see if we can grab these guys for post-race interviews, and we'll be right back to talk to them. So stay with us. All right, back here on PTR TV, and I have caught up with your race winner here tonight, Justin Botello. Man, you can hear me okay?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. So you kind of had you started on the front row, you dropped to the back, you know, you work your way through the pack through the course of the race, and I'll tell you had a really good pusher there. I thought he was going to pull out and take a move with that outside run, but he stayed right on your back bumper, and you ended up taking home the money tonight, man. Talk about your race.
There we go. It was really good, man. Me and Heath were working together all race. It was a good deal. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of back and forth through the field, but overall it was really fun, and I really enjoyed it.
Now, did you kind of have a strategy? You said you worked with them all race. Did you guys kind of have a strategy of what was going to happen with the money on the line at the end? Were you expecting them to take a run at it, or just kind of, you know, was it kind of predetermined? Maybe next time, you know, you have his back.
I'm gonna be honest. I really thought he was gonna make a move there. You know, that wasn't really planned at all. And I always tell him to make a move at the end, but he said he wanted one of us to win it, so it was really cool. So I'm gonna give him some of the prize money too because he did all that. So it was really nice.
I just called that on air. You know, Junior and Mikey, you flip flop on the next plate track, so maybe that'll happen in the next one. But any shout outs you want to give, man?
Heck yeah! I want to thank my Twitch channel for all they do. Just about 20, they're great people in my chat. So thank you to all of them watching, and thank you to Heath.
All right, sounds good, man. Maybe we'll talk to you in another one of these.
Heck yeah, thank you for broadcasting.
All right, so that is our race winner, and now we got second place here of Heath Snyder. You got a copy, brother?
I gotcha.
All right, so I was talking to Justin there when I said you were working with him all race. You guys had a kind of different pit strategy. You came in together on that second, lap after the main pit stops, and we're waiting for you to make a run there, but you stayed right to his back bumper. What was kind of the plan there those last couple laps?
Yeah, J-Bo's a good friend of mine. He was one of the first people that got me into iRacing about 1.5 years ago, but I was just determined to make sure one of us won there, and if it meant blowing my engine on that push, I was going to do it.
Yeah, I think he said he's gonna, kind of owe you a little bit for it. I was kind of joking, Junior and Mikey, you kind of maybe flip-flop at the next one, but kind of just talk about overall the race. It seemed like everyone was kind of testing each other out, seeing who was gonna do what, and of course you guys had that little alternate pit strategy coming in a lap later, so you avoided the pack. So overall, what was the racing out there like tonight for you?
I am amazed that this went caution-free, didn't it?
It did.
I'm amazed by that, but yeah, we just tried to keep ourselves out of the chaos most of the race. So that's kind of why we were doing that next lap pit stop, just so we didn't get caught up in anything, because J-Bo and I worked together pretty well, so we felt like we had a pretty good chance there.
Yep, and you always managed to get back to the draft, which is important, and, second on the podium here tonight. Who do you want to give a shout out to for your efforts?
I'll give a shout out to my team, Frontline Esports, Racer Apparel, Bruzy, Edge Setup Shop, Checkers One, so got a few of them.
All right, well, maybe we'll be talking to you again, whether a week or two, whenever we do these next, but congrats again.
I might be in the next one. Thank you, sir.
And then third place tonight, last on our podium, we have Reed Schaefer in the 43 machine. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, so had a good ride tonight in the STP Chevy here tonight. You kind of didn't really have too much of a chance to make a move there. Those top two were kind of glued to each other, but what were you kind of hoping happened on those last few laps, and ultimately what kind of fizzled out to kill it for you?
Yeah, so I knew J-Bo and Heath we're working together. I could see that just from the very start. I knew J-Bo and Heath. I remember in A Open actually, and when the Cup cars were at Talladega, how fast they were. So I knew that I really need to stick around them because I know how they could be rocket ships. At the end there, I was thinking about going high, but I've been too many times here. I've gone high and bad things happen. I wreck out, so I figured I'd stay low. And even just this past Talladega race, even in real life, how the guy in third place ended up winning the thing just by staying low. So they were getting pretty squirrely, and in the end, I probably should have went high at about 11.5 to go, but I still don't think we'd had enough speed to catch them. So those two were just a rocket ship. So
yeah, I know we're in kind of the first of 5 reboots of these cash dashes. I know you're probably going to learn some of these guys and different strategies going forth, but either way, man, you ended up getting a podium here tonight. You get some good time and had a good time on the during the race. So who do you want to give a shout out to for tonight's efforts?
Yeah, just friends and family watching. Zala was helping me out, and Tank Racing back at us around it. All those guys helped me a lot, and just had a good night overall, and just can't wait for next one.
All right, well, congrats again on the podium. Maybe we'll be talking to you on a higher end of the podium next time.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, Corey.
No problem. So that is that's our post-race show. We talked to our top 3 finishers, and that's going to be a broadcast here tonight. So again, great run to Justin Botello. He will take home the prize, famous big-time Twitch iRacer. So I'm sure there was some good interaction there, and you could probably check his reaction out live on his Twitch channel. But congrats to him on the winning the money here tonight. And again, subscribe to the channel, because we're going to be covering, it's either going to be next week or the week after. I got to talk to admin on the exacts of it, but we'll be covering 5 of these in the next coming weeks. And then towards the end of the month, we're going to be covering the next gen, the Elite Series for the SSRL, the Elite Cup Series with the next gen. That'll be on Monday nights, on alternating Monday nights as well. So you'll want to stay tuned for that, because a lot of good stuff is coming your way on the channel with this league. So Corey Silva here in the booth for PTR TV, signing out for tonight's race, the Cash Dash. Have a great night, everyone, and we'll catch you next time.